Caitlin Clark just made a move that nobody saw coming. She fired her longtime agent Erin Kane and hired Alan Zucker, one of the biggest power agents in sports. The same guy who represents Taylor Swift, Peyton Manning, and Trevor Lawrence. This wasn't announced. There was no press release. Just a random photo at a football game, and suddenly everyone's connecting the dots. Something major just happened behind the scenes, and the internet is losing its mind, trying to figure out why. Do you think Caitlin fired her agent because of the Nike deal, or was there more going on behind the scenes? Like Caitlin Clark has definitely made waves throughout the weekend. She was at the Indiana-Ohio State game in Indianapolis, and I'm here to tell you it was a big upset too. Well, not to me, because I knew Indiana was going to beat Ohio State. Indiana's just the better football team. But Caitlin Clark did make an appearance at this event. Now, it's a photo that she took that actually is making waves. Let's get right into what happened. Caitlin Clark showed up at the Indiana versus Ohio State football game in Indianapolis over the weekend. Normal stuff. Athletes go to games all the time. But it was the photo she took that got people talking. She was standing with her boyfriend Connor and some other guy, and fans started asking, "Who's that?" Turns out that guy was Alan Zucker. And if you don't know who Alan Zucker is, let me explain why this is a huge deal. Alan Zucker is a partner at Excel Sports Management, one of the most powerful sports agencies in the world. He doesn't represent just anybody. He represents Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Arch Manning, Trevor Lawrence, Clayton Kershaw, and Taylor Swift. Yes, Taylor Swift. The man handles billion-dollar brands. And now, apparently, he's handling Caitlin Clark. That's a massive upgrade from where she was before. For years, Caitlin was represented by Erin Kane. Now, Erin Kane isn't a household name like Alan Zucker. She's been Caitlin's agent since college, and she helped her land some deals. But let's be honest, those deals weren't great, especially the Nike deal. And that's probably why Caitlin made this change, because if you look at what happened with Nike, it's pretty clear something went wrong. You've got the Nike deal, which we all know was one of the worst deals in the history of pro sports. This is a bigger underpay when Steph Curry signed that $12 million a year contract when he was winning unanimous MVPs. This is one of the biggest blunders, and it's not necessarily the fact that, again, it's the money for this year. It is the fact that she's tied down for 8 years. If she had signed a one-year $4 million deal, or even a 1 year $3 million deal, which I think she's making per year from Nike anyway, she could have negotiated that into probably a $20 million deal, and it would have given her leverage, because they're clearly, she is going to make a cut of a signature shoe of any signature brand, but they haven't released a signature brand. So it would have given her, so basically the agent has lost Caitlin Clark all leverage with Nike, and Nike are doing everything they can to, Caitlin signed with Nike instead of Under Armour, and fans have been questioning that decision ever since. Under Armour was ready to throw the bag at her. They were desperate to sign her. Steph Curry, their biggest athlete, was pushing for it. But Caitlin went with Nike, and the deal she got wasn't even that good, at least not compared to what Under Armour was offering. So people started blaming Erin Kane. They said she fumbled the bag. She didn't negotiate hard enough. She left money on the table. And honestly, they're probably right. Let's talk about Excel Sports Management for a second. This agency is elite. They represent some of the biggest names in sports and entertainment. And earlier this year, Goldman Sachs acquired a majority stake in Excel, valuing the agency at close to $1 billion. That's insane. And the timing of that acquisition is interesting because Goldman Sachs was already doing business with Caitlin Clark. They had some kind of sponsorship deal with her during her first year in the WNBA. So when they bought Excel, they essentially bought access to one of the biggest stars in women's sports. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Excel represents Under Armour as a client. Not just Steph Curry. The entire Under Armour brand. So when Caitlin was deciding between Nike and Under Armour, Excel had a direct line to make the Under Armour deal happen. But she still went with Nike. And that probably had everything to do with Erin Kane. Because if Alan Zucker had been her agent at the time, there's no way she would have signed with Nike for a weak deal when Under Armour was ready to pay her way more. Steph Curry was furious when Caitlin signed with Nike. He's been vocal about it. He wanted her at Under Armour. He saw her as the female version of himself. Someone who could change the game. someone who could sell shoes. But Caitlyn went with Nike, and the deal she got wasn't even close to what Steph was offering. That's a failure on Erin Kane's part, and Caitlyn probably realized that. So now, she's with Alan Zucker, and if you look at the clients he represents, they're all superstars. They're all getting paid top dollar. They're all maximizing their earning potential. That's what Caitlyn needs. She doesn't need someone who's going to fumble deals. She needs someone who's going to get her every dollar she deserves. And Alan Zucker is that guy. Let's also talk about the photo that started all of this. Caitlyn was standing next to Alan Zucker at the football game, and fans immediately noticed. They started commenting, "Wait, is that her new agent?" And sure enough, it was. Someone even found a website that lists Alan Zucker's clients, and Caitlyn Clark's name was right there. No official announcement, no press release, just her name added to his roster like it was no big deal. There is one player in this league that a lot of this popularity hinges on, and so I'm just wondering if they're like, we can't give up so much, because what if it's a bubble and the popularity doesn't sustain and it doesn't keep going up? Now, I think all of us believe that women's basketball will continue to get more and more popular because there's all these younger players that are coming in that fans are really excited about. But I think the league is being like, we can't just go all in after 2 years of unprecedented success that the WNBA has never seen in its 28-year history of the league. They saw a rise that was so quick, but do they put all their eggs in this basket and say, sure, like we'll give you the revenue sharing because we know we're going to make this much money? But this is a big deal because Caitlyn's earning potential is through the roof right now. She's already making over $16 million a year from endorsements. She's the biggest name in women's basketball. She's turning down $20 million offers from other leagues. She's got the attention of every major brand in the world. And Caitlyn's Nike deal didn't make sense. Everyone knows it. Fans know it. Analysts know it. And Caitlyn definitely knows it. So she made a change. And honestly, good for her. Now, some people might say, but Erin Kane got Caitlyn to where she is today. And that's true. Erin was there from the beginning. She helped Caitlyn navigate her college career. She helped her transition to the WNBA. But there's a difference between being a good agent for a college player and being a good agent for a global superstar. Caitlyn's not a college player anymore. She's a brand. And she needs someone who understands how to manage a brand at that level. Alan Zucker understands that. He's managed brands like Taylor Swift, who's arguably the biggest entertainer in the world. He's managed the Manning family, who are football royalty. He's managed Trevor Lawrence, who signed one of the biggest rookie contracts in NFL history. This guy knows how to negotiate. He knows how to maximize value, and he knows how to protect his clients. Caitlyn needs that protection, because right now, everyone's trying to get a piece of her. Leagues are offering her millions. Brands are fighting for her endorsement. Media outlets want exclusive interviews. She's the most talked about athlete in women's sports. And if she doesn't have the right person managing all of that, she's going to get taken advantage of. Erin Kane couldn't handle that pressure. Alan Zucker can. Let's also talk about the timing of this move. Caitlyn just had an injury-shortened season. She only played 13 games. Fans were disappointed. The team was struggling, and there were questions about whether she was being managed properly. Now she's making changes. New agent, new focus, new approach. This feels like a reset, and resets are good when things aren't going the way you want. Caitlyn's also been losing weight. Fans noticed she's not as bulky as she was during her first year in the WNBA. She's going back to her Iowa body, the body that made her the best college basketball player in the country. And honestly, that's smart, because when she was at Iowa, she was unstoppable. She was shooting from anywhere. She was breaking records. She was putting up 40 points like it was nothing. Then she got to the WNBA and bulked up, and her shot started falling off. So now, she's going back to what worked. And maybe that's part of why she fired Erin Kane. Maybe she realized that the people around her weren't giving her the right advice. Maybe she realized she needed a fresh start. New agent, new training approach, new mindset. Because if Caitlyn wants to be the best player in the WNBA, she needs to get back to being the Caitlyn Clark everyone fell in love with at Iowa. Alan Zucker's client list is also telling. He represents champions. Peyton Manning won 2 Super Bowls. Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls. Trevor Lawrence is being built into a franchise quarterback. Clayton Kershaw is a future Hall of Famer. Taylor Swift is the biggest artist on the planet. These aren't just talented people, these are winners. And Caitlyn wants to be a winner. She wants championships, she wants legacy, and Alan Zucker knows how to help athletes achieve that. Now, let's talk about what this means for Caitlyn's future deals. With Alan Zucker as her agent, she's probably going to renegotiate some of her existing contracts. She's probably going to demand more money from Nike. She's probably going to explore other endorsement opportunities. And she's definitely going to make sure she's getting paid what she's worth, because right now, she's underpaid compared to her value. Think about it. Caitlyn is the most marketable player in the WNBA. She sells out arenas. She drives TV ratings. She's all over social media. She's a cultural icon. And yet, her WNBA salary is only $119,000. That's a joke. And her endorsement deals, while good, aren't as good as they could be. Alan Zucker is going to fix that. He's going to make sure every deal she signs is maximizing her value. There's also the possibility that Caitlyn starts exploring opportunities outside of basketball. With Alan Zucker representing her, she could get into entertainment. She could do commercials. She could host shows. She could even do acting if she wants. Taylor Swift isn't just a singer, she's a brand. And Alan Zucker helped build that brand. He can do the same for Caitlyn. But let's be real, the biggest question on everyone's mind is why? Why did Caitlyn fire Erin Kane? Was it just the Nike deal? Or was there more going on behind the scenes? Because firing your longtime agent isn't a decision you make lightly. There had to be something that pushed Caitlyn over the edge. Maybe Erin wasn't listening to her. Maybe they had different visions for her career. Maybe Caitlyn just outgrew her. Whatever the reason, it's clear that Caitlyn felt like she needed a change. And honestly, this move makes sense. Athletes change agents all the time. It's not personal, it's business. And when you're at Caitlyn's level, you need to make sure the people around you are the best in the business. Erin Kane might have been great for college Caitlyn, but pro Caitlyn needs someone with more experience, more connections, and more power. And that's Alan Zucker. Fans are already speculating about what this means for Caitlyn's relationship with the Indiana Fever. Some people think she might demand a trade. Others think she's just setting herself up for a bigger contract when her current deal expires. And honestly, both are possible. Because with Alan Zucker as her agent, Caitlyn's going to have options. Lots of options. And she's going to pick whatever's best for her career. This move also sends a message to the rest of the WNBA. Caitlyn's not messing around anymore. She's serious about being the best, she's serious about getting paid, and she's serious about building a legacy. And if the WNBA doesn't step up and give her what she deserves, she's got one of the most powerful agents in sports ready to fight for her. Alan Zucker doesn't lose negotiations. He gets his clients paid. And now, he's got Caitlyn Clark. That's bad news for anyone trying to lowball her. Because Alan's not going to let that happen. He's going to make sure Caitlyn gets every dollar, every opportunity, and every bit of respect she deserves. So yeah, Caitlyn Clark fired Erin Kane and hired Alan Zucker. And the WNBA better be ready. Because things are about to change. Caitlyn's not just the face of women's basketball anymore. She's a superstar with a superstar agent. And that's a dangerous combination. Caitlyn Clark just fired her agent and hired one of the most powerful people in sports. This move changes everything.